Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. Today we are getting a 750 gold for casting 30 red or green spells. I have a deck for that. This deck actually isn't, well, it's sort of mine, but it's also owed to a viewer, Marcus the Blind, who made a donation to the channel. On Twitch, I will play any deck that you ask me to. If you're willing to donate $5 or subscribe to the channel, or if you are willing to cheer 500 bits, which is all like the equivalent of $5. So Marcus the Blind came up with, he wanted me to play red-green monsters, and we played red-green monsters. He helped a little bit with the brew. I, of course, had to say, is this what you want me to play? Is this all right? And we went with it, and we went 7-0, so already setting expectations too high today, but we did 7-0, a quick constructed event with the deck, so I'm curious to see if we can run the score up or if we just got a little lucky, which is totally possible. We certainly were running hot yesterday on the stream. Seemed like we couldn't lose. So let's see, we've got Llanowar Elves, which makes the awesome early plays of Rekindling Phoenix and Glorybringer possible, as well as casting Jadelight Ranger easier. It is important to note we only have 8 sources of untapped green mana, and we actually have 10 potentially tapped sources of green mana. So you sort of need to come to terms with your Llanowar Elf maybe on turn 2, not on turn 1. Now, when you look at our 2-drops, we do have a number of them. We already have 10 2-drops, so this is almost like having 14 2-drops. And you will face situations where you have to choose Llanowar Elves or your 2-power 2-drop. And often, if you're trying to get the Phoenix or the Glorybringer down, it's just right to go with the Elves. But sometimes it's right to go with one of these creatures, as they can eat a lightning bolt or something like that, and open up your Elf to come out on turn 3 and power out a Glorybringer or a Multani ahead of schedule. So we'll get into some of that. Other card choices, how about Multani? It's an interesting card. I've become disenchanted with Carnage Tyrant, as it often just comes down a little bit too slow to do enough against the control decks that by the time Carnage Tyrant attacks, Teferi is already activated a time or two, or Scarab God is activated a time or two, and Settle the Wreckage is open. Multani has a lot of the same problems, but it does have a few things. Reach is actually very relevant, as one of this deck's big weaknesses is Lyra Dawnbringer, and the ability to get it out of the graveyard by returning 2 lands to your owner's hand is actually a very relevant ability, because you can use your Explorer creatures to throw Multani or these Eternalized creatures into the graveyard, and then use their abilities when they're in the graveyard. And that is similar to card advantage, similar to drawing cards. So it makes your Jadelight Rangers and your Merfolk Branchwalkers much better. Also, since we do dig up a lot of land with our Jadelight Rangers and produce extra mana with our Llanowar Elves, Fight with Fire is an interesting inclusion, where you can get it all the way into kicker range for a big finisher, or you can just play it for 3 and get Lyra or some other big thing out of the way. Struggle to Survive takes on the Scarab God or other difficult to handle creatures. Magma Spray is available for some early plays. Using it instead of Lightning Strike or Braid for curve considerations, since our 2 spot is so flooded. We'll often want to go turn 2, a 2-drop, turn 3, Magma Spray, and a 2-drop, something along those lines. 1 Rhonas to hopefully turn on and drive people crazy, but you never want to. You never want to. You just, it's almost game over if you draw 2. So in the mana base, we have 1 Ramunap Ruins for the, I guess, just for that special occasion where 2 damage to the opponent is awesome, and a pair of Hashep Oasis, which are usually better than Ruins in this type of deck, since pumping a flyer and getting in there is all the rage. We also have Sheltered Thickets. A neat play is to return Sheltered Thickets to your hand with Multani from the graveyard and then cycle them, so it's like drawing cards. Anyway, the deck really relies on the power of Glorybringer and Rekindling Phoenix to do work. Let's get out there and battle and get our quest. If you notice the gold pile that we have sitting around, we're saving up because hopefully in the near future, we will have Kaladesh and Aether Revolt to add to our collection. And then, of course, also this summer is the next core set. So there's still a lot of cards being released for Arena as they propel it towards being complete standard. So we need the gold to continue to bring you new decks. So we need another red source, or this hand is pretty poor, but I think on the draw we have to keep it. We do have a removal spell, which is very important on the draw, and we have 2 of the strongest cards in our deck. We get about 4 looks at another red source. I think that means that we're about 40% to get there. No, it's more than that. It's right in coin flip territory to get our double red source on time. So we'll take that coin flip. Here's an opt from the opponent. So far on a Highland Lake. At this point I'm thinking about wizards or control. Here's a Khenra. A little worried about a Magma Spray, but it didn't happen. Another Rekindling Phoenix is not good if we don't draw that red. Possible wasted draw step there. And here comes a wizard. So the wizards are in fact here. Do I let him keep a Naban? I think normally I'd probably be conservative and zap this. But here today, for the YouTubes, let's give him a turn with Naban to punish me. And see if he can do something really neat with it. Wizard's Lightning will take out that Khenra. That way, even if we're having a sad mana screw game, if we see our opponent go nuts with Naban, we can say that we made a great video today. Alright, well that'll deal 4 to us. I wouldn't call that going nuts. And we didn't get there on the red source. And we're not going to. Well, that's unfortunate. Now we have to think. We're slightly behind in the race. Our opponent's likely to have removal. Using the Magma Spray on the 2/1 is not optimal. I don't think I can anticipate that I can block, but am I supposed to try to? Right now, who wins the longer game? It looks like I will if I draw another red source, and I do have another removal spell. So if I keep these back and my opponent uses, say, a removal spell to kill a blocker, and then has to selectively attack, and I trade that off, and I spray this, and he plays another creature, and I fight with fire that, then we're at parity, and if I draw a red mana, I'm ahead. So I think we don't attack. As awkward and weird as that feels with an Earthshaker Khenra. Alright. We'll now zap away Naban in response so that the double triggers don't happen. Githyu Journey Mage will still deal us another 2, but we've got to stop the bleeding somewhere. And our opponent's not attacking. We draw a second red. Now we can play our Rekindling Phoenix. And I still think we're not attacking here. Being down 4 life and facing 6 power, a lot could still go wrong if we just charge in. And since we have plenty of creatures to play, I think we just want to kick it and sit back. Lava Runners here. These aren't good attacks. Our opponent didn't play a land, so they could play a land and kill the Phoenix. But since I have another one, I'm not going to back down here. And our opponents decided that they're the beatdown, so we'll respect that. We'll respect that they sort of know what they're doing. Our opponent doesn't have land. We'll take back our Phoenix. We'll hit our land drop, and now we'll turn the corner with the mighty dragon himself. And we'll take out the Naban to prevent any craziness on our opponent's part. And they're going to trade with Branchwalker as they now see that the damage race is firmly turned around. We also had the option of just attacking, no exert, and holding back Branchwalker. What I don't like about that is if Branchwalker gets killed by something. The Cinder Wind is here. We can get our opponent. Nope, we can kill our opponent. We have the land for the Earthshaker Khenra. Our land showed up just in time. We only had 1 turn of awkwardness there, and then we powered through for the victory. This is an interesting hand. Two of a kind. A very one-dimensional hand. And on the draw, it may not be very good. I don't think we can mulligan it away, but without a removal spell and without a big creature, we're just kind of playing a weird beatdown game from behind. Still, it's got the right mana, and the mana will probably only get better with Jadelight Ranger, and hopefully we can find a big monster to pay us off. We can also try to play the grinded game if we're in a creature battle with Eternalized Khenras, so we'll keep. Oh boy. Right up in there. Just jumping in the hand, divesting. I'm certain you take a Jadelight Ranger here. Taking a Khenra would seem silly to me. Our opponent doesn't know about the Branchwalker, so I'm going to start keeping... No, I know about it now. So our opponent on, I guess, a dedicated discard deck. Hopefully I'll get to show why I do not think these decks are good and don't understand the obsession that many players have with them, thinking that they're extremely good, but we'll see. Our opponent may, in fact, be able to put up a good game, but typically the more discard spells they have, the happier I am because I'm busy doing a lot of damage on the board. See if he likes this Khenra. No. Takes it, so probably something to get rid of this Jadelight Ranger. But we've got to dig our way to our resilient threats, so we're gonna go ahead and accept that our Jadelight Ranger had to die. This can go to the graveyard, I suppose. Well, that's... we actually don't have a removal spell. But then again, we also can't hope to keep a removal spell in our hand. So something like a Dreadshake could be a pain. Our opponent playing the colorless land, though, means if they have that, they don't have another swamp handy. Josu Vess is annoying, but I think I'm still going to graveyard this. It's difficult, because now if they play a big creature that we needed to remove, I will feel bad. But, you gotta take your chances. A little bit of a flood in action here. Because our creatures come back from the graveyard, I'm going to not be too shy here. Alright, our opponent's using their Moment of Craving early. We can probably... Oh, never mind. They're just going to kill everything. Oh, we'll still play out our Resilient Khenra then. Opponent on the make you discard everything, kill everything plan. Here we go. It's interesting, but we're going to lose 3 for a while now. Another card I don't like, the Torment of Scarabs, but I know some people very much enjoy that card. Soon the Khenras will start coming after our opponent. And then it'll be like getting 2 for 1s. Our opponent's going to use Razaketh's Right. What do you suppose they want in this situation? It's an interesting one. Bantu's Last Reckoning, perhaps? Our opponent knows that they have multiple creatures coming out of the graveyard to attack them over the next few turns. They'll lose 3 life. We draw a Rekindling Phoenix, which is great. But we can just bring back the Khenra right now since it's kind of the onboard thing. And our opponent may attack our graveyard. We'll see. Or maybe they picked up Vraska's Contempt. I'm not sure what you would write for in this situation, but I think we're about to find out. The Stronghold doesn't produce too much mana. The Eldest Reborn? Sure. I will sacrifice... It's an interesting choice. I could sacrifice this, or I could sacrifice this. This does a lot of damage when it comes back. If it comes back, I do want to 9? Get him to 2? But if I do this, I do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, get him to 1. So I'll pick you. We'll lose 3 life. As you see, plenty of life total to work with. Not too worried about it. Alright, we'll bring back another Khenra. Our opponent's going to make us discard a card with the Reborn. We'll discard this Khenra, which will continue the value train. taking advantage of our opponent's fixation on discarding quite a bit. I think that there was a misplay there. I think I should have sacrificed the Resilient Khenra and brought it back, as now Abantu's Last Reckoning buys our opponent an additional turn of time, whereas if I had the Haste Khenra in my graveyard, having that to bring back would kill my opponent despite Abantu's Last Reckoning or some kind of sweeper effect. So a little misplay on that one. I would have been better off getting back, sacrificing Resilient Khenra to Torment of Scarabs and bringing it back embalmed to do the damage last turn. Our opponent would be at 2 instead of 1, but we would still have a Llanowar Elf and we'd still have an Earthshaker Khenra in the graveyard. Well, our opponent's examining the board carefully. What do you suppose they drew? Or are we going to get the troll treatment for not simply rolling over to their many, many discarded effects and their Torment of Scarabs? Nothing to be salty about, my foe. Maybe he's thinking about all the cards in his deck and we could draw with Arch, but that's not going to work. Ah, he's counting things up for his Torment of Hailfire. I see. Okay, so we're going to get another Torment of Scarabs. Well, let's see where we end up here. 1, 2, 3. Discard a card. And now we'll sacrifice a non-land permanent. And our opponent is still dead. Complete with Glorybringer for the BM. Some people, that's just their playstyle, and I'm not telling you can't do it. You're certainly welcome to play the decks that call to you in this meta. The type of person who just likes, I don't know, hitting people with Torment of Hailfire, Torment of Scarabs, and a bunch of discard cards. I don't understand it. It's obviously not a mentality I can latch onto. Now we have a rematch, same opponent, and we have a hand that's very similar. It worked out last time. Let's try again. Here we go again. It's almost the same hand. I'm sure he'll take the Jadelight Ranger. Oh, interesting. Opponent does not know about this mountain, so I'll hide that over here. Does not know about this forest. And let's go get lit up. Sure, it's going to die. Our opponent had a lot of cast downs and Moments of Craving. Oh, not this time. We at least got some damage in. Doomfall, perhaps? Yes, of course. And he's going to the hand, which is, you know, Jadelight Ranger he could have taken before. Ah, and there is the conundrum. Sometimes we just rip the card we need right off the top. I don't think that there's any chance in the world I'm going to cycle this. I really need to get up to 6 lands, at least. See if our opponent has a Golden Demise or something of that nature. No, Josie Best. Well, at least they played a blocker this game. Our opponent doesn't know about this Craig, but they know about these lands. Let's get our Phoenix online and see if our opponent has a Vraska's Contempt for it. Hang back with these, although we may not always do that. Right now they represent more damage if we can get to where Earthshaker is unblockable. Exile a creature, huh? I guess the Khenra's the least of them. And so far no solution to the Rekindling Phoenix. Play the mountain that they know about. I suppose now I wish I had held on to the thicket, but who knew we were going to draw so many lands in a row? I should know this. I should know this. I should know that. Of course I'm going to draw 3 lands in a row. Map and Instant Scry. 4 lands in a row. All right. Well, let's just make our opponent have an answer. And it's not there. Okay, well, we're still on a roll, about halfway to quest goal. Only 20 minutes in. I'm gonna give our mono black opponent a second here to get matched up with somebody else, as playing against the same deck over and over can be annoying. And let's jump back in. I don't love the monsters deck in the meta. I think that blue-white control is a particularly nasty matchup, and blue-black control. So I don't like playing this deck that much for the meta reasons, but I've got to admit, this build, since it was sponsored and I've been running it, has been performing very well. It's been running hot. Our opponent on the mulligan. And the double mulligan, oh no. And they have decided to keep here. Here's the Sky Marcher. All right. We could play the Khenra, make it this unable to block and get him for damage, but I like the idea of playing the Branchwalker more, making sure that we hit our land drop. As long as we hit our next 2 land drops, we're in really good shape. So, yeah, we found it. Not to mention, the Khenra can be worth more damage if our opponent only leaves back 1 creature to block the Branchwalker. I don't want to make a trade there. And the opponent doesn't leave a creature back, and we can play Rhonas here, so let's get in with the Branchwalker. Find out if our opponent runs Seal away. Okay, and of course, with them on a mulligan, I'm really happy to trade probably my worst creature, the Branchwalker, for a Seal away. And now we'll play the Rhonas, because next turn we can play the Phoenix to turn it on. Here comes a Vanguard. And now Phoenix will come down, turn on Rhonas. Rhonas can attack, opponent can block and go indestructible, so as to lose 4 instead of 5. Let's see if they see this line. They do not see the line, or they do not care. It's possible. I've been in spots where I'm a little mana screwed against a good draw, and I just don't care anymore. It happens. All right, our opponent going in with the Vanguard into the Phoenix, and they already played their land. So they can pay for life, but the Phoenix is going to come back. And we just need 2 damage to be lethal. And Earthshaker Khenra and Glorybringer, possibly if we draw land, have that covered. Not to mention Rhonas' ability. So yeah. We'll go for the... We'll show the opponent what's up. Assert dominance, as Nighthawk would say. Speaking of other YouTube personalities like Nighthawk, I want to take a second in this video to remind everybody that the Pro Tour is this weekend. I believe coverage starts on Friday, I believe. Friday, Saturday, then Sunday would be Pro Tour. It is U.S. Eastern Time in Richmond, Virginia, which is the same time zone I am, which I'm very excited about, as that doesn't happen too often with Pro Tours anymore. And I want to definitely take a minute to wish a special good luck to a member of the YouTube Magic community. Legend, or LVD, how you know him, is making the trip from Belgium to compete in this Pro Tour. And I want to wish him the very best, and I hope we as a YouTube community that also goes back to the origins and the duels of the Planeswalker days rally behind him and wish him luck. So come to the Twitch channel and watch some coverage this weekend. I'll be hanging out on my channel, hosting it, kind of having a party, watching the footage. Maybe we'll see him in a feature match, and I'm sure that Nighthawk will be there providing regular updates on the standings so we know how he's doing. So cheer LVD on, and let's wish him the best and support him. One of our very own here on YouTube, and somebody whose content I've enjoyed for many years. So my best to him, and of course my best to all of you. Thanks for watching. This has been another day in the arena, and for today, I'm out of here.